Well, welcome to the Lash Creator Studio today. Today we have kind of our first of many videos that we're going to be doing. Today we are privileged to have these great people here with us. We've got Paul and his wife Tussanee from LashCast, and we're excited to be here talking with them. We've also had my beautiful wife Haley.
Woohoo. Hi.
So making her debut.
Yes.
We're so excited to be here.
Yeah.
And thanks for inviting us, because
We're just
for
so
years
excited.
we've been trying to find and reach you guys. And as you've told us, you guys are kind of like undercover, underground all the time.
We really do like our privacy. Like we just, I don't know.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, Tuss is like
So,
that too.
I am the same way. I'm literally like a hermit online.
Yeah.
I am the reluctant social media person. And,
Yeah.
and I'd just rather not.
I agree.
So I completely get
Yes.
it.
And I'm like this weirdo because I'm like this old guy in an industry that's mostly 20 to 30 something. And I'm like shooting videos of me talking about stuff. And I'm like, wow, I got a lot of young women following.
How much do you love the question, what do you do for a living?
That's a hard one now, because it used to be I worked in the film industry for a long time. It's like, I'm in the film industry, I do development. But now it's like I mostly just say I help my wife run her salon. I mean, until recently that was what it was all the time. So it wasn't, and guys just kind of but there was no conversation after that, because in the past there used to be in the film industry like, oh my gosh, dude,
tell me
what
more.
projects you done, all that. Now it's like, you do lashes, like
Yeah, and the bros are like, ha ha ha,
Yeah,
like snickering. You
Yeah,
know?
I'm sure you get some of that too. At least
I always like, it's either, am I going to see this person again? Do I have to explain? Or if I'm not, then I go with, I'm an engineer, because no one cares.
and then that sounds like a good thing.
But then, so then if I say, oh, my wife and I, we have a beauty company, and then they're, oh, that's so cute. And then it's
adorable.
Always followed up with, do you do that full time? And it's like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, amazingly so. And it pays well too, right?
Yeah.
No, it's for us, it's been for the longest time, I would just say I was in the beauty industry. Because
That's
also
amazing.
when you say lashes, I mean, I'd get
That's a
just
whole
look.
other,
And they're like, what lashes? Who does that for a living? What?
Right.
And then they ask if I do lashes.
I know, always.
Or if we're at work, I for a while, when we went through a big change in the salon, I worked front desk and helped with that. And no one knew I was her husband. So people would be like, people would ask constantly,
why
who's
does
that
he
guy?
work
There's this
here?
old guy working at front
Who's that
desk.
guy?
Yeah, like, is he making minimum wage? I feel so bad for him.
let's tip him.
Like, no, I'm married to the one that's making all the money. It's all good.
That's funny.
Yeah, so anyhow, that was, the interesting
That's
question.
great. Cool. Well, thanks for flying out here this morning. I'm sure, that's we appreciate it. We're excited to have you guys out here. So.
No, we met at Serious Business, and it was really, for us, the highlight of going to Serious Business. We've been going for
no joke.
We've been going for 5
Literally.
years. We go every year.
We finally met them.
Yeah, we finally met them. It's like we have this chart of all the people we want to meet,
man.
and I went, I finally crossed that one off. No, but it was
I'm
just
sorry.
neat because we met Vamore, I guess, and Ada. And we're talking, and she's like, yeah, we're working with Bella. And I'm like, oh, really? I've never met them. She goes, well, this guy,
He's right here.
She doesn't say who you are. She goes, there's a guy here, you should meet him. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then she goes, it's Zach, and I met you. And I didn't know you were the owner. I just thought you were an employee. So I think I started asking, so who is the owner here? And you go, well, yeah, that would be me.
For private, yes.
Yes. Because I never saw your faces really much. I
Haley's
think I've seen your face around.
Haley's-
Yeah, I saw yours. Yeah.
She does a great job on videos. So what kind of, she's...
Now, are you the reluctant video or
Yes.
video?
Well, it freaks me out to be on video.
Yeah.
I feel like I lose all my words
Okay.
every time.
I lose my words.
I forget how to talk.
Yes.
It is hard. It gives you like a ton of respect for
Actors. Oh my
Actors,
gosh.
radio hosts, all those people, and they speak clearly and they succinctly, and I'm like rambling for hours to get one small idea out, it seems like. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I know for us being here, we're excited because you guys did this thing that I think hopefully the whole industry has gotten and it's downloaded and studied and researched.
This is a gift to our entire industry. It's amazing.
Well, I'm glad you guys see it that way.
I'm glad you love it.
Yeah.
It was very
it's good for
revealing
people
for
to see
us.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it really gives you a little barometer. One of the things that we're really big on when we ran a salon for 13 years is numbers and understanding our numbers, our rebook rate, our pre-books, knowing what our sales, the retail, all of this stuff was stuff that we tracked. And we all learned that through a coaching company we worked with called Strategies. Big shout out to them. But they really hit us like numbers. Obviously, that in the end, numbers are just a barometer of what's really going on.
Right.
It's not going to fix things by knowing the numbers, but I think in our industry, no one's ever even looked at the
my
numbers.
big thing, like, because we have like a whole engineering team, and like my big thing with them is like, how can we know where we're going if we don't know where we've been?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this year in review was. Like, we've done a lot of surveys and stuff, but it's just been for our own internal use.
Yeah.
But it was like, there's some things in this industry I'm not happy with, and I think most people wouldn't be happy with it if they could see them.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think we kind of need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Completely. It's like you can't change anything until you know what you're dealing
Right.
with. When you talk about anything, if you're not following the metrics of like your own weight, even or what you're eating on a
I
daily
prefer to
basis.
leave that one alone.
Right. Well,
We'll get some fry sauce soon, right?
yeah. Fry
These
sauce.
guys are going to try Utah
Some
fry
soda.
sauce
Yeah.
here in a few minutes.
Yeah, so we'll get to that.
But you have to first know what you're dealing with. And
Right.
so when this information came out, and do you want to explain what it is a little bit?
I mean, basically what they did is they went through and broke it down basically by numbers for lash stylists, for our industry, and also some numbers about you guys and your responses and the customer. It kind of
Right.
took 4
So
quadrants.
we've got like our business, we've got our customers, and we've got their customers. We've got some data on them, and then we also have some collective data on the industry using some data from our competitors and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where we've been able to pull it from.
And when you compiled all this, was this over basically 1 year you got all this information?
Yeah,
or-
and I wish that we had more. And I hope that, like, from bringing this up and showing people like what we're doing, I hope that we'll get even better responses. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
But it's not like this is obviously. It's always going to be this is a limited thing, but this is actually pretty comprehensive. But I know that there's always more data that we can do. So hopefully people
Yeah.
will take us more serious when we ask them. I know for me, like
For surveys,
I
yeah.
Yeah.
never answer surveys. Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
have got a million other things
Yeah.
that I would rather do than answer a survey. But
Exactly.
this is one that I think that where we're sharing this with everybody, like this is something that will benefit everybody. So, and that's really what we're trying to do this year is like try and really help our industry out and help everybody.
And this is like the biggest Christmas gift ever, because the way I see it is that this is legitimizing our industry.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of if you guys know about Salon today. They have a top 200 issue,
Okay.
and basically they honor the top 200 salons and beauty businesses
in
in
North
North
America,
America.
yeah.
So
Okay.
it's the United States and Canada.
It's actually during Serious Business when they do the awards program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
on
So
Monday night.
for part of that, the application process, they require the applicants to fill out forms and surveys. You know, like how much money
They
they're
actually
making.
have you turn over your taxes to them. So all these
Okay.
salons are giving their 1099, or not 1099s,
How
but
much do you make a year after tax?
Yes,
What's
yes.
that movie on? We love that quote.
That's a
It's
good movie. I can't remember.
Step Brother, I
Step
think.
Brother.
so funny, that movie.
Yeah.
The guy's in an interview, and that's what
Yes,
he's asking
yes.
his like future boss.
How much you make after
Oh my
taxes.
gosh, John C. Reilly is
Yeah.
so funny.
But yeah, basically, with the whole thing is they get all this data and then they break it down and share it. Now they don't tell you how many salons they get. I don't know if they get 1,000, they get 500 or 800. You find out there's only 200 salons that apply.
No, there's more than that.
It's more than that,
But they publish that data, and we always like to peruse it to find out, kind of like where the industry is,
Right.
what our markers
Yeah.
are supposed to be. Because when we first started the salon, it was like in 2006, we had no idea what those numbers were. We were just
Yeah.
kind of flying by the seats of
For
our
the
pants.
longest time.
And then as you grow and you mature and you have those terrible pains of growth, you realize that you've been doing it the wrong way, and you think there's got to be an easier way to do it. And so you look to the industry to say, well, what are our markers or what are our guidelines? And
Yeah.
that didn't really exist.
Right, nothing.
For the lash world.
No.
So,
Yeah.
In fact, when we would go to our trainings with strategies, they would do everything for hair salons, and we'd have to interpret it for the lash world. Like, okay, well, that's good for you guys, but it's
take it
not
and tweak it.
always exactly the same. I mean, we're similar businesses, but there are some differences in numbers, and so we would try to reinterpret that stuff for us, but we had nothing to compare it to.
Right.
So what's cool is what you guys did here, and at least it's a beginning, I think, to start working with something we can track, something we can do, and hopefully you guys keep it up. I don't know if there's a way. I was thinking it would be so cool if all the bigger lash companies actually collaborated in some way and shared some resources, information, and saying,
would be nice.
That way we can maybe, I don't know, have a third party take the information, distill it, and help all of us have a better sense. Because one of the problems with, I know, surveys is when you survey people and you say, like you just said, like you never respond to surveys. So a lot of times surveys aren't really 100% accurate because they're skewed to people who respond to surveys.
Right. Just like reviews. You're either super, super, super stoked about a company or you hate it.
Yeah. There's not that middle
You want
ground
them to
usually.
go to
in
business.
between. Yeah.
And so that's one of the things about surveys is that they're not always 100%. There's a whole science and art and craft.
I'll tell you what I would like more than like other companies like us data, like which would be great.
Yeah.
But even more, the cherry on top is what I want to get to is the consumer. I want to get to the people wearing the lashes. That's what is like going to tell us the very most.
Right.
Yeah. Which I think that was probably the biggest takeaway. Well, just jump into that was when we saw what consumers really prefer most and what we see our lash industry mostly pushing. And that is the consumer was 78% want a more natural, classic, or hybrid look.
Right.
And only 22% want something like that's a lot bigger, more volume and all that. But if you were to look at every Instagram page all over America right now, you'll see 80, 90% its volume and very little classic. Or if it's a beginner, almost apologizing, like, I'm so sorry.
It's only classic.
It's only classic, like an apology for it. And I think in fact, I just was talking to someone, sharing a tip with them, saying with their marketing, guys, you know what? If you're only showing volume, you're missing 80% of the market right now. There's a lot of people who are looking at your page going, oh, you're not for me. I'll go somewhere else.
Right.
Because I need something more natural looking, or they're thinking because, so much, again, I saw in this, so much of our industry is young, like they're 20, 30 somethings.
Right.
And as a result of that, they tend to cater to 20, 30 somethings because you tend to be around people you look like. But our clientele was mostly 40 and up, who have a lot more money, by the way, more stable, more predictable, more time, more resources. And most of them are not looking for Vegas lashes,
I was asking my mom and her friend, like, because I mean, my mom could have, and she does now. She likes the crystallized fans, but like before she stopped getting lashes for years. And I was asking her friend and her like, why? Just help me understand why no lashes? Because to my mom, they're like, she just comes down here and gets them done, and it was like I don't have time. And that's the main thing. And I'm like, and then the other one is like where you're going is that they don't want them to look like that.
Yeah.
They don't want them to look like that.
No.
That's the thing.
No.
We had a really, really giant, big salon come to us. And they said, they're like, we just really don't want them to look like the caterpillar lashes and they called them the caterpillars.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard them called
Yeah.
like that for a long time. And because I've totally gotten wrapped up in the whole craze too a little bit where that's all I want too. And it just made me step back and look at, oh my gosh, like classic is very important. That's what most people want.
I mean,
and that's what this huge salon wanted. They wanted, they're like, we want them to look natural. We want them to just enhance their natural lashes. And they compared it with hair extensions where, you know how hair extensions used to get them and they used to just be really long.
Yeah.
They looked, you could totally tell.
You can totally tell.
Yeah.
And they said, they're like, it evolved and now people are just getting it to add volume.
Yeah.
And you can't tell and it's beautiful. And so they're like, that's exactly what we want to do. We just want like an enhancement. We don't want it to look fake.
I like to call it authentic.
Yes.
It's either authentic or iconic. And if it's authentic, people wonder. They wonder, is that, if it's iconic, they know.
And that's that's what makes like a good surgeon too, though. Like you don't want to look at somebody and be like, that person has Botox, those are fillers, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be like, wow, that's really pretty. Did she do something
Wow.
or
Just
not?
What a
naturally look
beautiful
that way.
woman. Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And there's people that want everything.
And and then
that's
there's
great.
the other extremes. I mean, there's the Hunger Games still exist, and there's people that want to look like the Hunger Games, but
And they're beautiful.
And they're beautiful, but most people, bread and butter. In fact, I hear this with hairstylists. You see them putting pictures of unicorn hair, But by far, the majority of their clients just want the gray out. Just want natural looking brown hair.
Right.
They're not looking to go crazy, and it's more fun to photograph. But in the end, their bread and butter is going to be that 45-year-old mom who just wants to get a little bit of gray out, wants to look natural. It's not going to be, the 20-year-old who's going to Vegas again and wants crazy hair. It's just not where the money is.
You mentioned something a little bit ago. You said like, what's our barometer? What can we look at? There's really nothing like it. There's something that actually is pretty close, and that's hair extensions. Our industry is following almost the exact trends of hair extensions.
Wow.
We're about 10 years behind them.
Okay.
So like, and even like down to the beginning of like where hair extensions began, like it used to be like you had to pay thousands of dollars to go in and do the trainings, and you had to do the trainings in order to buy the product from them. Like that's what Extreme Lash did.
Yep,
that's right.
And
handcuff you,
Nova
and all of them, right?
Yeah.
And time has come. Like the product has evolved. It's gone faster. It used to be pod lashes. Then they came on strips. Now we've got like the pre-made fans.
The bulk.
Yeah.
Right, the bulk.
Yeah. Miss those days.
Yeah, but like now, like there's more companies. Training has come down. You can buy them. You can buy your products openly from different products and stuff. We're very similar to hair extensions, but one of the big things that kind of changed hair extensions was the tape-ins. That's when time got really fast. That's when it started to look more natural. Like it's more comfortable because you don't feel like the knobs of the beads and stuff that are crimping all.
You don't have to have anything sewn in.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's kind of where I feel like we're kind of at this like crucial like influx right now in our industry. For those that are willing to wake up and see it. Those that aren't willing to see it, they're going to stay stuck in the past. And like we've seen that with companies in our industry, like icons that I used to look up to in our industry, like the benchmarks when we started this business, and it was like, man, they have got it together. They're awesome. Like they're all but gone.
Where are they?
Yeah.
Right? It's
They're gone.
Yeah.
And that's a quick turner. That's a quick gone too. That wasn't like it was 30, 40 years in the making. It was like
it's kind of like
over a couple of years, things just went opposite direction for them. It's really
like looking
sobering.
around. Remember what Blockbuster used to be? Like who would have thought? That Netflix or
They had a chance to be Netflix.
Yeah,
but
they had a
didn't.
chance to buy them.
Yeah.
What was it, like 30 million or something?
Something like that.
Stupid?
Nothing.
Like,
something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But they probably would have just ruined it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They probably would have destroyed the company, destroyed
It's a
it.
completely different vision.
And Hollywood would be around. Hollywood Video would be the bomb now.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
Well, I kind of wanted to put into context what we've been talking about a little bit for those of you who are listening or watching. So basically, what we're talking about is a survey, and it gives us a bird's eye view with numbers like what is the industry actually producing, like in terms of like who makes up the lash. Our lash artists.
What's our demographic?
Yeah, our demographics. Thank you. And what kind of services are we offering, and the money that's generated, what kind of income, and what brackets they're in. So maybe we can get into a little bit more specifics about that.
yeah, I mean, we could talk about the first one, which was all about the lash artists, and I was intrigued to see some correlations here, or at least things I'm looking at going, oh, this is interesting. Like obviously 61% of our industry is pretty new. Like you're young kids, you know? and that makes sense because it's a new industry. So there are not a lot of people in their 50s and 60s picking it up as a career choice at this point.
Can you give us the actual
61%
data?
are 18 to 34. So basically you have Gen Z and the millennials all kind of mixed in at that. And with us in our salon, that was our salon. I mean, it was all, in fact, ours was all millennials pretty much.
Right.
And so that makes total sense. But what I was really surprised to see is how many the home. Now, based upon your thing, how many people are working out of the home?
If people are going to geek out over these numbers, then next time I'll put more like actual data in here so people can see. Our thing is we always try and make it more visual, so people don't like to read.
Our industry is very
visual. But if people are going
visual.
to pay attention to this, they need
visual.
to see the actual numbers. But yeah, it's surprising to me how many people are at home. And we actually had to clarify that question because on one survey we said, do you work at home? Like of all the options, and then they could pick studio. And then we learned that a lot
Some
of people
consider it
considered
home
as
studio.
a home studio. So then we added the option of home studio. We were able to kind of clean up the data and stuff. But yeah, it's
a
lot of home.
A lot of people working out of their home, and then other.
Which you got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
we
true.
started in our house, right? Like we were telling you guys a little bit. We
Yeah.
started on an IKEA shelf in our bedroom,
Yeah.
and that's that, you know. And so you got to start somewhere, but you also need to strive probably to
grow out of that phase.
right.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
which is
There's
why
nothing wrong with that. We've all been there.
Yeah,
we've all
it's
been
really
there.
a magical time.
No.
Like looking back, it's like, man.
Yeah,
There were some times
we
had
grew up in
there.
the Silicon Valley where everyone talks about starting their business out of their garage. I mean, I grew up in Cupertino, Steve Jobs and Wozniak. Their house was right next to my junior high, and we'd kick our ball into their yard. So
Serious?
so it's one of those things where everyone has that proud story. HP started in
Right.
the garage, all these companies. So really, for Lash
So
artists,
be
it's like
proud of the fact that you're in your home.
yes,
Exactly.
But aspire for
Don't settle for that, I think.
Exactly.
Because I think that, for me, my big takeaway, I was looking at this, and I was looking at what the average income is, that 62% of our industry makes $20,000 or less.
Right.
And I was wondering
so
if you could clarify
surprised
this.
by
Is that what they make gross a year as a company, or is that their
That's
take
just in
home pay?
lashes.
That's
gross.
yeah. Because that's the thing I was
You know
wondering.
what? We might. I would have to look at that. I think that might have just been net income, but let me.
Okay.
I'd have to look at that.
Hopefully
this
it's
is
net.
insurance.
Look,
If
man,
that's
if
gross,
people are
that's
gonna
very
like
sad.
this, then I'll get them like the straight data and like, for the next time so that people can actually see like, One of the things like we have, we're gonna be posting a video here soon of us talking with my tax guy.
Wow.
I brought in
That's
Brad
great.
Allen, he's awesome. He runs a great business. He's got like 4 locations here in Utah, but it was like, let's bring him in. And we asked questions. We asked our followers for questions and stuff, and they gave him some good questions. He answered them. And so it's like, we need this education. We need to be better.
Yep.
It's time for this industry to grow up.
Yeah. It's because we've been working in our home for too long. I gotta look at here and like, okay, I guess the reason why we're making 20,000 or less, most of us work at home, and that's not a high-end service anymore.
There's so much potential here. Like it's such an exciting place to be in lashes. Like it really is.
We're
It's
in the
awesome.
baby beginning of a booming industry.
For sure.
And the opportunities are huge. I also think one of the things too that's interesting here, because booth rental was number 2 on here. And between home and booth rental, that was by far the majority of people. And we've always thought it's like 70-80% of the people work for themselves probably in our industry.
Yeah.
And there's a problem I see there in our industry, because what happens when you work by yourself, you get right out of beauty school and then you get your lash training and then you go open your place, which is what a lot of people do now, is there's no mentoring and there's no training.
Yeah.
You know, like in the hair world, that's not, first off, it takes in California, it's usually about a year.
1,200 hours.
Yeah, or 1,800.
To get a
16.
cosmetology license?
Yeah, get cosmetology. So it's going to take you a year and a half to get your license.
No, it's 2 years.
2 years. And then after that, you have to go usually and work in a salon and be not intern. What's the
Assistant.
Assistant. Be assistant for maybe a half a year, and you get trained during that time. You're only allowed to
shampooing.
cut hair for the first like 6 months.
Yeah.
You're only sweeping and all that. But you're learning systems. You're being mentored. You're being trained.
You're putting color on.
You don't
You're
have
chatting with
any
clients.
of this in our lash world. We basically kick you out, give you a 2-day training, and say go open your own business now and good
Have
luck.
at it.
Or the people in the training are telling them you should be making 70% commission if you work in a salon, or you're going to be making $100,000 by yourself. In your first 3 months.
Yeah, and we noticed. Oh, wait, 62%,
Hang on a
20,000 or less. That's not
Yeah.
quite adding up to 100,000.
Yeah.
Now, part of that could be that people are doing this just as kind of like a side business.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is it does provide that opportunity for some, like so that they can have that extra bit of income, or like they just do it on the side, and and that's that.
No, I think it's a
and
good
that's
thing.
okay.
There are a lot of moms I know is a perfect job for them. It's flexible, especially when you do it at your
sure.
house. How cool is that? Like you don't have to leave your child somewhere else. You can literally go out the other room, I guess lock them with the TV, and then run over and do some lashes, go bounce back and forth. But that's really cool. But I still think for a lot of people, it's a hobby. I think they're too scared to commit because they've had no training. No business training. 2 days of lash training, maybe max.
Yeah.
And now they're supposed to start a business on their own, and that's scary, and it's a hard place to go. And so a lot of people hold back and don't go for it.
Or they're just, they're in a specific season of life where they're caring for little ones at home, which is the most noblest of jobs. And they're only really wanting to take care of friends and family.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's part of it, but I just still think there's a lot of people I hear and talk to who want to do more, but they're afraid to commit because they don't know if they can make it on their own. It's like, so they hold back and they do their day job, and then nights they run around doing lashes.
But then there's other people like you guys and like Savannah Carmichael. Like, I don't know if you guys know who she is. She's down in Southern California.
Yeah.
I mean,
In
she
fact,
crushes it.
Yeah.
Like, but like there are people that can just become complete like moguls and they can just dominate it. And because they see the potential, they see like, okay, let's take this out of my house. Let's do this. Let's hire employees. Let's provide a great service. Let's provide a culture that people like, and like, let's dominate it, And that's really, I think that like one of my biggest pet peeves is like, let's stop like iconicizing things that aren't real, and let's iconicize the things that like in our industry that matter the most, like someone like that.
Like running a successful business.
Being an entrepreneur more than just a lash artist. Because I can't even tell you how many freaking beautiful sets of lashes there are on the internet. There are millions. And like statistically, Grub, I don't know if you can pipe in here, but like I'm pretty sure that like our most liked posts are the beautiful images. And it's like, that's great. I'm glad that you guys like that. But like, why can't we talk about business and get as excited about that? Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we started the Lash Conference, was because
there's a huge gapping
it's a
hole in our
dearth of
industry.
information.
Right.
And a lot of us didn't have that business background. I mean, good at lashes, business, those skills don't translate.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the things that we teach at ICE, and we've taught at IBS now, the beauty experience. And I want to make
you.
just clarify.
Way to figure that
Teach
one out
at
after a
IBS.
decade.
Yeah, no, really forever. But we basically taught there, and one of the things that I would teach like business courses, and our business course would have like 5-8 people in it.
But
if the last course we'd have 50 people pushed out the door, couldn't get in.
Standing room only.
Yeah, and I remember asking, like, we could charge for our class for training for lashes, but I asked the lady, so do you guys ever charge for the business coach?
course?
Oh, no.
No one would come.
No one would come if you did a business course where you had to pay for it at a beauty show. It's just no one cares.
I don't have an answer for that yet, but I would like to. I would like to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's like we're calling out those who have a vision to be better and greater than they are today, that have a burning desire to accomplish something. Yep. So those of you who hear that or hear what we're saying and feel that fire burning inside you, it's like we're calling you out to achieve more than you think is possible.
Step up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think really for us, we're big fans of salon owners, as we were for 13 years. And I think they're the most unappreciated people in our beauty industry. They are not celebrated in any way whatsoever. Yeah, we have trainers who are national trainers who everyone loves and worships, and I love them. They're nice people. They're wonderful, but they're not building a business with staff and providing jobs for families and all that. They're training people and moving to the next town and all that, which is we need to have trainers. I don't want to downplay it because I'm going to get all these emails, Paul, you suck. But I really wish we did celebrate the owners. And that's why for us, we're really big in trying to connect with other owners, celebrate them, support them any way we can.
And I showed you, we just got a new laser cutting machine, and that the purpose of that is that we want to, on this Lash Creator Studio, we want to have icons come in, and we want them to challenge our followers, things with business and entrepreneurism. And if people can hit those challenges, if they can reach it, we want to be able to use our machines and our printers and everything to build them really cool awards that they can hang up on their wall and be like, I did that. I hit the 6-figure club, or I did this, that, or the other. And it's those are the things that we need to rally together as an industry and celebrate. That's really what what our industry needs more than anything right now. Yeah.
Some of the good examples to follow, and people aspire to that, because I think everyone wants to be a trainer now. That's all they want to be. And I'm like, you know what? Salon ownership's, actually bigger picture, you can make more money as a salon owner than you can as a trainer.
See, the salon owner,
money-wise, that is.
The salon owner is more connected to the actual client, the person who's actually wearing our product, right? The trainer is more connected with the actual lash artist in a way. So it's the salon owner really has to keep their finger on the heartbeat of the client. I mean, it's...
Well, that's where she started, when she first got into lashes, she couldn't get clients, so she became a trainer and taught other people. But she quickly realized, this sucks because I never see the client again.
I never see the work come back. In fact, nobody's teaching about how to do a fill. I don't know how this stuff is wearing. What's the longevity? What is it? And the thing how I learned is that, as you are taking care of a client, you get to know them socially and you get invited to things. And I'd do a client and she would invite me somewhere and I'd get to see her a week later and I'd think, I'm going to see her lashes. They're going to look amazing. And I'd look at her and I'd go, oh my gosh, what is that? I did that. I'm realizing, okay, something's not translating here. It's different from my perspective than it is from her perspective. It's one of the reasons why I stopped taking pictures from behind, because it looks completely different from our perspective behind the client when the eyes close than it does when her eyes are open.
We also stopped taking pictures with eyes closed at all because it said no one ever looks at themselves with the eyes closed.
We don't even know what we look like, right? Who cares, right? It doesn't matter.
I mean, if you've seen one though, you've seen them. There's other things.
There's more to show, more to
There's
explore.
more to our industry than that one shot of what it looks like with lashes. And then the latest and greatest thing is that now we can put a halo light there. And now there's a circle in their iris. It's
right.
That's a big upgrade.
There's other things. Let's celebrate other things.
Well, the good news, though, I will just say as encouragement, is when we did LashCon last fall, we didn't know if we were going to get 5 people showing up because it's a business
you had a great
conference.
Turnout, though.
We did. We almost had 300 people show up.
That's awesome.
For a Lash conference, that's huge compared to what I've seen out there. So I was really encouraged that there are people waiting, and I think that was our messaging when we were out there posting stuff. We were just hitting it hard. look, you're a great lash stylist. Now it's time to become a great business owner.
Yeah.
And let's talk about business, because I don't think anyone in your life is doing that with you. You didn't have time in one day class to learn how to run a business. They'll show you a couple of apps. Okay, great. But in the end, there's so much more to marketing than a good picture. There's actually a message and all these other things.
I think the way to like being successful in business is not about like what you know. It's about your ability to learn. And if you have that drive and that desire, like you asked earlier, like what my like management style is and stuff, it's like, I have no clue. I don't know what the freak I'm doing in business, but I am eager to try.
Yeah.
And I am eager to like learn books and learn more and stuff and try to always improve.
Yeah.
And that's the messaging that, you know.
We need to get people realizing and become lifelong learners and just say, you know what, I know you got into beauty because you hated math and you hated science. So I know I'll go into beauty college. What? It's only a year? That's awesome. I'll get my degree, wear my diploma, all this stuff. But truth is, you're not done. Once you're done, you get that, you're just starting out. I was always proud of my dad. My dad basically was a lifelong learner. A perfect example for me growing up. He went to university his whole life up to 75 years old.
He never quit.
He never quit. Every semester, he would go to Stanford or Santa Clara University, grew up in Silicon Valley, 2 great universities, and he would take one course every semester almost his whole life.
Good for him.
And he never stopped learning. And my dad worked in Silicon Valley till he was 75. No one in Silicon Valley does that. Every engineer ages out somewhere between 60, 65. And if you get past 65, you're doing something different. And my dad was that way. And for me, that was like, okay, now I don't go to university. I just read a lot or watch a lot or listen to podcasts. That's why we're big podcasters ourselves.
Yeah.
And we learn from other people, listening to you. I mean, just being here today, watching everything you guys are doing is just like mind blowing. So it's been very exciting. But yeah, I think if we can get our industry to start thinking this, learn, then we will evolve faster and we'll become smarter, and it'll be a much more, I think, industry that take notice of versus right now.
So I just wanted to tease apart a little bit about what that learner, one quality of a lifelong learner is, and I'm just going to put it out there, and I think it's safe to assume that one of the reasons that makes you a good learner is that you're humble. Because you're willing
brag
to
about how humble you are right now.
Yeah. Because you have to be in order to learn. You have to say there's something out there that I don't know, or maybe there's a better way of doing that, which requires you to take a step back and listen to what others have to say. So, I mean, I think that a humility, embracing ourselves with humility, is a great attribute with whatever we're doing. You know.
One of my favorite sayings, I have a couple of funny sayings. Well, one of my favorite sayings though for my employees is like, if I'm looking at somebody doing something, I'm like, do you know what you're doing? And if they say, yes, I know what I'm doing, that's when I'm concerned. It's like, they think that that's the right answer, but I'm like, uh-oh. You know what I mean?
Let me look at
That's
this.
funny. The other one that's funny, like during late nights and stuff, like there's been a lot of headache and stuff around trade shows, things like that. We'll pull all-nighters sometimes. So I'll look at my guys and I'm like, how long are you going to be broke down on that? And that comment is like, it makes them bust out laughing, and it also makes them want to punch me in the face. I mean, I'm joking when I say it, but it's like, yeah, it's funny. But yeah, it is important to always try and learn and know that there's a lot of growth opportunity.
And having that attitude,
go ahead.
Show off, is like, I want to challenge us, those of us who are lash artists, when you're looking through Instagram, clothe yourself with that humility. And instead of, it's so easy to look and maybe feel bad about yourself, or like, I don't know, like it looks like she's killing it. What am I doing? I'm just a schlub. To say, wrap yourself with that humility and say, what is it that I can learn from this? What is this post making me feel? Right? Yeah. Is that something that I want to engender or to have my followers feel that same thing? I mean, you can always learn from whatever you're going through.
One of the things we like to say, or when we had our staff, we never said we had a master stylist working. Like Tussa's that 13, 15, 14 years of Lashing. She's a master, but we never called her that master stylist, and no one on our staff was. We called senior, or we had a junior when they were training. And the reason why we said master is because I always felt like if you say you're a master, you have nothing left to learn. Masters are like the top, like they're at the peak. So we always said there's always something more to learn. There's always something more to get. So we decided, no, we're not going to use master in our salon. While everyone else is calling themselves masters, we always said, no, we're not masters, because we always one of our core values was humility. Like that was like the heart of everything. In fact, our whole interview process became, we were just digging for people who are humble. Because you work for someone who's humble, they will learn, they will grow, they'll admit their mistakes, are
Teachable.
And that's, as a owner or a business owner, that's one of your most important things. I need everyone on my team to be teachable, and me included. I don't like, I'm the master, I'll teach all you peons. No, it's like we're all in this together and we're learning as we go. And I think in our industry, we got to just keep pounding that, because I think a lot of people just think once you get to a certain level, you're done. I mean, I see people all the time saying I'm master stylist, or I'm no longer taking new clients and all that stuff. And I'm like, you know, if you think you're at your peak, you guys, 5 years from now, you're going to be at the bottom eventually, because you're not progressing, you're not growing.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at, we were talking about earlier, look at some of the old OGs in our industry. They're there because they didn't grow. There's something happened.
They didn't change, right?
And they did great things during their time.
Yeah.
They didn't change.
So that's one of the things that, for us, I think that we tried. And that's why we started the podcast, by the way. We said, you know what, let's have a podcast where we can talk about ideas, talk about new things. Because sometimes we felt like in the forums where, it's almost like if you don't conform, you get flamed and knocked down. And we're like, all right, we're kind of nerds, so we'll just get a podcast so no one can shout us down. We'll just put it out there, and then some people will hate us, and some people will love us, and we'll find our tribe. We'll find
your
people.
cell number, by the way?
Yeah. Sadly, it's actually all over the place, but thankfully no one really harasses me too much. But anyhow.
Good.
I just want to put it out there. If you call yourself a master, we are not bagging on you.
We still love you.
We still love you, absolutely. It just means that you have something that we can learn from.
Yep.
You're like, after all that, it's like, okay, it's pull back Paul over there. As you bash half our audience, is like, man,
You
Paul,
know what? This is a safe space, right? I mean, like, like when you started out, you started at home, we started out mobile, that wasn't necessarily right. There were times in our career that we thought that we'd arrived and we were like the bomb.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been through that. There was times that I thought I was the master, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just years of doing this has kind of taught me, there's still a lot that I can learn. So if you're in that state right now, we can be friends. We can totally be friends.
It's okay. I won't be your friend, but that's okay. That's what Tessa's here. She's the kinder side of our podcast, though. No. So one of the things I thought I was talking about too, I thought was interesting, was finding out, you guys went through the average cost, the pricing. Like, what are people really charging? Yeah. And I think this is a big one, because again, looking at the price, and there's something here that actually wasn't connected to this, but it's actually really important, is how much time does a service take?
Time is like my biggest concern.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Time standards.
Time standards, but at the same time, like, if you're charging $80, but you're doing it in 15 minutes, you're actually doing a great killing. You're making like almost lawyer rates at that point.
Yeah.
But if you're spending $80 and or it's $80 and it's a 3-hour service, now you're almost on, welfare.
Yeah.
Because you're
time is
charging
money.
$25
in this industry,
an hour.
time is money.
Yeah, and people don't understand that, I think, a lot. They mix that up. They just think, they just look at how much they're charging, and that's all that matters.
Well, we didn't understand that. We were charging, at a salon, we weren't charging enough to cover our costs.
No.
And we were charging $80 for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's
one of the things that was interesting that happened to me this last week was I was talking to somebody, and they said, we'd love to use Bella Lash, but like, it's like our margins, we can't afford it. It's too expensive. And I'm thinking, what is the average cost in there? Like, if you're, and I think a lot of that is you're seeing stuff that's coming out of the house, but like statistically, like around the country, like if you're in like a proper salon and stuff, like you're looking 150 to
150
100 to 150.
If you're paying full price, like for Bella Lash products, you're paying about $4.50 to $5 for a set of lashes, and you're charging that. And you're telling me that your margins won't allow that. So you're going to go with a cheaper, like off-brand something. And it's like, wait a second, that's
the thing that's not costing
that's
the money is
not
your
your
issue. That's not your issue. We're looking at this wrong, right?
Yeah, it's the time.
It's time, and there's other issues too. I mean, I was at a conference where someone said you should be spending 30% of your budget on advertising.
Yeah, that's not going to
I'm
work.
like, no, there's no margin for 30% on
No.
advertising.
I don't know what industry that would work.
There's no industry that spends
Who the-
30% of their budget on advertising. You go out of business if that's your budget. And that's when I realized there's just this real ignorance, not understanding how much costs are. Like, we, with strategies, when we were with them, they're saying, look, your rent, your lease shouldn't be more than 10%. If you're over 10% of your total costs, then you're spending too much on your lease. And we were,
Payroll shouldn't be, it should be
for your service provider should be below 35%.
Yeah.
30 to 35%. That doesn't include front desk management or anything like that, but that's just your service providers. Most salons, it's over 50%. And when they get there, that's when there's no margin. That's where the real problem. Most salons that have staff that are commissioned, they are losing money because they're paying commission and they have no ability to control their budget.
Their payroll.
So
their
they can't payroll's out of control. And so what happens is there are a lot of owners out there I've talked to, both and more in the hair world, but they really don't make any income. The owner literally makes zero. As long as they're a commission salon, and especially if they're paying 50, 60% of their money goes to the commission, which means, by the way, like in California, you also pay the sale, or there's a sales, well, not California, the federal what you call self-employment tax gets dumped onto the lawyer. So you pay another, if you're making $50,000 a year, the employer pays about $4,500 on top of that and taxes. Now, if you're self-employed, you pay that yourself. So even if you're paying 50% to the employed, now you're really paying about 55%. And then you add on all their stuff.
And then the fees for even processing the,
credit card fees and all
processing
that stuff.
tips.
Software, everything. Before you know it, there's no money for the owner. And the owner, often makes tips. I've talked to plenty of owners who go, look, I actually don't make anything. The only way I make money is through my training. I do trainings. That's my salary. And the salon is like for bragging rights.
It's like a loss leader.
Yeah. Or just so they can look like legit. Like, hey, I own a salon, but really I make my money on the training. Or they start thinking I'll make money on products. So that's why you have all these little companies popping up, doing little products, a little training, because the owners themselves can't pull a salary from their own salons. And that's not unusual. And that's because our numbers are all skewed and messed up. And now that's why for us, we're really big on what they call team-based pay culture. I won't go into the long spiel. If you've been in our podcast, that's our thing. And it's all about controlling your budget. It's not about paying your employees less. A lot of times people think, you're just, care for people. It's about controlling your costs and paying your right employees more, and the ones that don't perform, it's like any job. The ones that rise to the top get the
It's merit-based.
It's merit-based. Yeah. It's not like law salons. Everyone just gets 50%, and then the owner wonders where all the money went.
I need to understand the salon better. We're gonna that's gonna be one of our things that we're gonna do here shortly. Is we're actually gonna open up a salon inside our offices here, and so that I can understand this, because I'm hearing you speak and I'm like, I need to know this better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I need to learn this.
Mm-hmm.
This is an area, and I would suggest for you guys, and it probably would be useful for you to even go and talk to and maybe pay for training with strategies about salon management, because that's what they do. They've been doing it for 27 years now, and they really approach salons much differently than the average. I mean, most salons today are either commission or moving to booth rental. And booth rental, it means you're a landlord. You're not even the salon owner.
You have no control over the work.
No offense to all you. Again, I sometimes demeaning. I don't mean to be that way. But if you are basically booth renting, you are a landlord, because you just collect rent and you can't do anything. You can't control quality. You can't tell them when to show up. You can't tell them what to wear. You can't do anything, because and if you are, you're breaking the law, by the way, and you can get in trouble with the IRS. You really are a landlord. You collect their rent, and then they come in, they do their thing and go home. If you're commissioned, they're employees, and then you can do all that type of stuff. But the other way, what's called team-based culture or team-based pay, is what it originally started as, is really a whole set of systems, and they teach you it, and you run it, and it's a higher calling, I'll say. It's much harder than running a commission salon.
It is much harder, because you're growing people. You're managing the systems instead of letting it run out of control and you putting out fires.
Yeah, you do. And once you obviously systematize it, you get good at it, but you're doing quarterly reviews, as opposed to like most companies do yearly reviews. They really encourage you to do quarterly reviews, because if you wait once a year to tell someone they're not performing
it's
too late. The employee's like, what, 9 months ago you didn't like this for me? Like, you need to be telling them like as soon as possible.
And if you don't move on it fast, things fester, and then other things break down.
And then the cancer begins and all that.
Boy, the cancer is a real thing.
Cancer
is a real thing. Yeah.
And
the team-based culture really helps you to get the right behavior and the right culture. If it's commission, what happens is it breeds a lot of I, me, mine mentality. All the employees are only focused on their own column their own business.
Yeah.
So they're less likely to help out if there's a problem in the salon. Somebody comes in, Mrs. Jones isn't happy with her lashes.
Not my problem.
Yeah, because
It's
you're
not my
not being
problem.
paid.
I'm not gonna do a touch up because I'm not gonna get paid. It's not my problem.
We had
you want me
team
to take
mem-
out the garbage?
No.
I don't get paid for that.
I get paid when I use my hands. When I use my hands, I'm being paid. Anything outside using my hands, I'm not being paid, so screw you. That's pretty much.
So it doesn't build the right kind of culture.
Yeah.
A nice thing now with team-based pay is people are paid whether the client shows up, no shows. If a client needs a touch-up, they'll do it. They get paid no matter what. The first moment they walk in the salon, they're being paid. While they're cleaning.
So
all
for
that
people
stuff.
who don't know what a team-based pay is,
yeah.
would you mind explaining that?
Yeah, I mean, just a quick way of looking at it is team-based pay, team-based culture. Overall, it's all these systems. It's just operations. But as far as a pay structure, it is hourly plus bonus, which if you look at all the bigger chains in the hair world, no one does commission on the big hair chains. They're all going to hourly, but they're not team-based pay. A lot of people think, oh, hourly, team-based pay is the same thing. No, hourly is hourly. Team-based pay is, like we say, is like taking hourly and then putting on steroids and doing a lot better than
It's
that.
like so you can scale it.
So you can scale it. So you have basically hourly, and then you have team bonuses. So you have team goals every month. So you teach your team, learns financial literacy a little bit. They learn how
to
much
read the
money,
profit and
it's
loss.
open book type of idea. There's a book by, I forget the name of the book. But anyhow, it's an open book. So they know your numbers. You say, look, guys, we're trying to do $100,000 this month. We need this much in sales or revenue from products, and this is from service. And if we make these goals, we'll all make a bonus, and we'll get $200-$300, a little paycheck bonus on our pay for the month. And so it's a nice way for the team to work together.
Everybody gets that bonus, from the front desk to the
janitor and all that. So everyone gets a bonus, and so everyone realizes we're a team, which you don't get that in salons because usually everyone looks at their little column and they say, "I'm busy. I don't need you
they'll
guys."
Say, don't go to her. She's not that good.
It's
you
kind
know?
of cutthroat.
It is
Right?
very cutthroat
It's
because
catty,
you want to
right?
be
Yeah.
you want to be busy, but then the team-based salon, you want everyone busy because if the company
Yeah.
is busy, then we all can get pay raises. If the company is not busy, if only 3 of the 6 people are busy, then the 3 who are busy know that, guys, I'm not getting a pay raise because those 3 are dead weight right now. Or the salon sadly may have to cut them, but that's not the goal. The goal is to have the 3 busy people start promoting, saying, guys, don't go on the wait list. Go see them right now.
They're good.
They've been trained.
Yeah.
They're all in the same. We're all using the same technique. So you share clients easily. Like our staff. I mean, of course,
I love
clients will have their favorites,
And
but
that's okay.
They knew that they could go
build that
anywhere.
relationship.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
But they can see anyway. And what's nice is it saves you from walkouts. Because walkouts are the death of our salons. And most salons,
Okay, so tell me about a walkout.
walkout is when
I feel bad.
basically
No.
You need to know
let's-
this stuff.
You have a
We gotta-
salon of
Grubb,
10.
We're starting a salon.
Yeah, walkouts is literally, you mentioned to a salon owner, have you had a walkout later? And they'll start shaking.
Is that
and
someone who's so pissed off they leave?
the whole team
The whole
leaves.
team leaves.
And they take
And they
all the
take
clients with
all the
them.
clients.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's like a mutiny.
It's a
Yeah.
mutiny. It is
It's
a
a
mutiny.
mutiny.
Yes, it's
Yes.
a piracy.
It is a mutiny.
And it's more than just one person. It's
No,
like,
usually it's a collective of 3 or 4. We had a walkout back in 2013.
And it can
the
happen over a
walkout of
couple
2013.
weeks.
2013, where we had basically, now they didn't all leave at the same time. It was a slow, progressive walkout. But sometimes I've talked to quite a few owners who literally, like one big salon I know, they had a few locations. They had lost like half their staff like over a week.
Because they all conspire together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they take
Oh my
the client list
gosh.
because they've been building this relationship
this-
with the clients instead of the salon.
Yeah, and because they love their clients and the clients love them, they're not loyal to the salon because the salon is not building that kind of culture. It's building basically they're like law salons. If they have 10 stylists, they're building 10 little businesses inside their salon.
It happens to everyone, I think.
Yeah. So business is business, and business
Yeah.
is exciting though. There's lots of that would be one of those times where like you really wish you weren't the owner.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. During
you
a
just
walkout.
you just
but don't
walk out
want one of
yourself.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quit.
I wish I could walk out. It's like, oh no, everyone left. Okay, I'm by myself now and start
Yeah.
all over again. And that happens in the salon world. And basically the nice thing about the team-based culture is that because the client becomes more loyal to you, your company,
the salon,
the brand.
because the systems, the greeting, everything is controlled. Everything is a system. It's
love
like
systems.
an organism.
I could tell you something that you guys would probably really click with.
It's I love systems. I wish I was better at it. Like I wish there's so many things that I'm like I love this part about business, and I know, like I think we were talking last night, Haley and I were like, there's times where it's like what it is that you need to do, but for some reason it's you can't do it. It's like really hard to get to that point, right? And systems is one of those. And like one of my favorite books ever on business is called The E-Myth Revisited.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you haven't read that,
that's the first books you read.
If you haven't read that, don't bother watching the new Formula One thing that came out on Netflix tonight. You're staying home and reading
That's
that
right.
book. Like
That
it
book
is.
is
It's an easy read too. It's a nice, easy read.
Oh, it's awesome.
And life-changing.
I have to say that book has probably done more to build my business than anything else.
Wow.
Well, I love my degree has had a lot to do with it, but like
Being an engineer has helped out a little bit.
That book has really changed our business.
Oh, good.
For sure.
No, there's so many more after that. There's like a whole library of great books.
I'd love to know other ones that you like. We should put like a book list up, Grub, of like our favorite books and stuff.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. A little
that'd be
book
good.
club.
And help people. We actually talked about that, starting a
Yeah.
book club and helping people. Because the truth is, when we did our Elevate class, which was a business course we taught last year in Vegas, I basically gave away, not gave, but 10, 12 books that people should read. And it was so exciting to see people going online posting, I'm reading this book now.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And
the E-Myth, in fact, you should comment on this video if you've read it. Like you'll find that a lot of people have read it, but if you haven't, it's key. You really should.
It's like foundation 101 before you do anything else.
We were talking, who was it? Was it, one of our UX UI designers yesterday, or 2 days ago, we were at lunch and she was saying how like in high school she worked at McDonald's, and I said to her in a very serious way, I'm like, I've actually always wanted to work at McDonald's. I legitimately have, and there are there have been times like
are amazing.
Yeah.
their systems
are.
are unreal.
Did you see the founder?
Did you see the founder?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
I've
Was that
actually been
Michael
to
Keaton?
Burger U, by the
Yeah.
way.
Have you?
Yeah,
You've been?
I've been to Burger U. I went there.
Like you visited, or you went through
No,
it?
I didn't go through it. No,
See, because I want to be that
I'd like
graduate.
to learn. Yeah, I'd like to learn it.
I want to learn that. I'm
like-
like, maybe I'll buy a McDonald's just to learn it. I don't know.
Yeah. You get trained and then take all that into the
Well,
Lash
I think
world.
it would be cool to be able to like one day be able to like go and work at McDonald's for a month.
Actually, we had a friend of ours who was a
Yeah.
manager, so he went
Yeah,
to
he
Mike.
did,
Yeah, he
yeah.
went through Burger U, guys, and became a manager. Now he works for a big tech company.
But the point is that these systems that you learn in E-Myth and that McDonald's is really, really good at, these systems make a huge difference.
Yep.
They really do, and that's huge in business. But
why you can scale. That's why you can have more than one location. Until then, you're really just running around putting out fires, and you never go anywhere. You just stay at the same place, and it's really difficult to grow. And
So the takeaway is check out Strategies because they give you all these systems, like
Yeah.
how
You have to
to,
invent them.
Strategies is the name of
Strategies,
the consulting company.
Yeah.
strategies.com.
Yeah, strategies.com.
And they've got a lot of free resources that they do a
Yeah.
white paper, they do a morning wake up that's free.
And they do
They
trainings.
give you an hour free coaching. So
We
you
keep
should take
telling
advantage of
everyone in the
that.
world, we feel like we should be getting some sort of
We're not, we're not,
I know
but
there's a lot of lash salons now that are basically signed up with them since
they're
they
going to
started
save
this.
themselves a lot of
When
heartache.
like my big thing, like when I'm working with my teams and managing projects and stuff, like my big thing is I like to look at the high level first, and then I like to dig down into like the details and stuff. And so like let's pivot back to like our industry and where we're at. Let's look at how things are going, and then let's dig into some of these details. Does that sound okay?
Let's do it.
Absolutely, yeah. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to dig?
Oh man, I think
we didn't talk enough about how long it takes, and I
yeah,
want to talk
time.
a little
Okay.
bit more about that.
That's because that's very interesting.
Yes. So, how long are your lash maps? Is what we said, and we had some people up at the 3+ hours. Majority
Hopefully
was
they're learning.
Yeah.
an hour to an hour and a half, which I was actually really happy to see that.
I think that might be a little bit.
It
not
seems
quite
skewed to me
truthful.
because everyone I've talked to, it takes at least 2 hours to get their lashes done. And most of my friends, none of them get their lashes done. And I'm like, you guys, you can come down to Bell Lash and get your lashes done whenever. And it's always
I don't have time. It's freaking free, and it's not that they don't want it.
Okay, I don't understand that.
No, it's free. And
You
my
know.
friends are like, I don't have the time. And I don't know. All my friends are moms. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids.
And some of them are cranking away on their own businesses.
Yes,
and they're busy.
they're business
and I can
owners. They're
respect that.
mothers.
But do they not know what it will do for their face?
It's amazing. And they've
change
even
their
had them
life.
before, but they let them go because of the time.
Huh.
And that's a big thing that I don't know if you guys have noticed lately, but that's why we've come out with the pre-crystallized fan. That's why we came out with Smart Volume. We're
And we've got to do more.
working nonstop in our labs to make this faster because that is going to open up so many more
opportunity.
clients
Yep.
and opportunity for you guys. So I think like the mega volume is beautiful, and I'm trying to figure out how to get it done in under an hour, but it seems pretty impossible.
You know, the other thing is too, though, is like, I think lash artists, I think by they just happen to be perfectionists.
Yeah, for
Lash
sure.
artists are
It's a trait.
perfectionists.
It's a
And,
trait.
yeah.
like, they are so talented and so gifted. Like, I really think the world of lash artists, and this is going to be very, very, very hard. And I get pushback within my own company over this, okay? But sometimes less is more, okay?
Yeah.
So let's talk about, like, sometimes, I think as a lash artist, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I'm not, you want to lash every single lash. I hear that time and time and time. Oh, but there's some lashes over here in the corner, or there's some lashes here and there. And I get it. And I think it looks beautiful, and it looks even prettier on camera than if you don't. But what if instead of like trying to just completely fill every single lash in the lash line, and please come at me. I'm ready for it. Right? Like, I really do want to talk about it. And I want to know your opinion because I want to learn. But like, what happens if we said, you know, what if it's not about lashing every single lash, even though that's what I want to do? What if I don't do that? But what if I focus on to this client? I know it's important that they're about their time. So I'm going to respect that. And I know that I can make them happier and get them coming back week after week after week if I can keep their time between a certain, like if I can keep their time under X, right? And to me, that X needs to be well under an hour. But like, you decide what that is for your clients, and you do what you can in that time, and you do what you need to do in order to make it faster. And then I think we might find that there's a lot of clients that are willing to get their lashes done that previously were not.
Before.
Completely. I actually agree with that. When I first started, it took me, I think, 5 hours, and it was done over 2 days to get the fullness that I wanted.
am so ADD. Like,
I could not.
I don't
5
know
hours,
how
no.
you lay
Oh, no,
there
no,
for that
no.
long.
No, your first set.
Video games, I could do
your
that.
first
I
set.
could do that
I
for a
mean,
video game.
Yeah.
Could you?
Yeah, I
I've
could
always
do it.
wanted to.
A
Never mind,
girl
keep going.
with beauty, if you tell her that it's going to make her look younger, I would rub fried pork skins on my face.
I've done it.
No, so like, you know, it's like the pampering, but it took me a really long time to get it. Once I got it, then I really tried to crank through as many as I possibly could. And as I began to grow, I really tried to work on getting people in and out in an hour. But as I grow and mastered the application, then I began to look further and look for longevity, began to look at the wear, began to focus on the pattern of growth, right? Because so the client would tell me she needs to get in and out, and I'd really try to honor that. But I found that, you know, if somebody told me, you know, she was going on vacation in 2 weeks and she couldn't come see me, like, or she's going to get,
She's not going to look great while
Yeah.
she's
So I knew I had to do things differently. So my approach, my goal, my end goal was different. So I began to do every single lash, and I began to do it, those little, the baby lashes with a very, very short lash.
You use medical loops, like
So I
dental
could
medical
see.
loops, so
Right.
that you can see even
Yeah.
the smallest
Yep.
baby
Yep.
hairs.
That's cool.
And began to track that. So over time, you know, with the trusted clients that were willing, that knew the work,
They're willing to spend the
They
time.
were willing to spend time. And now we used to brag that we were the slowest salon in Southern California.
Yeah.
Because the goal was about longevity. The goal was about authenticity. And we found that people were willing to pay and lie there as long as, you know.
As long as it took for that.
We've always looked at trends and we go the opposite direction. That's always the way our salon was wired. So
Yeah.
the trend was always goes faster, faster, faster.
So you went slower.
We went slower.
And that's worked for
And
you.
it worked for us. I don't think it's going to work for everyone, but for us, it was
Now,
exceptionally.
do you think that has to do with your demographic?
Yes.
My
absolutely.
specific demographic, yes. The
Our
kind
target
of-
audience.
Tell us about your demographic.
Yeah.
Tell us where
Yes.
you're at. Brag a little bit about your salon.
I think,
okay?
I think knowing your demographic is.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're in Pasadena, which is right next door to San Marino.
Beverly Hills, right next to us.
San Marino is like Beverly Hills. It's like there was an article in the LA Times that came out several years ago that all the Chinese, the really wealthy Chinese,
wanna live in
want
San Marino.
a San Marino zip code because it means that you've really made it.
Yes, it's like 90210 for Beverly Hills. There's
yeah.
the same thing for our area where we live. So, and that's literally about 1 block from where our salon is, where San Marino starts.
So Pasadena is where a lot of Hollywood industry professionals actually live.
Not
and they will
not
commute.
the actors, but a lot
Some
of the
actors do live in
producers.
there, but the producers, the directors, then we've also got a lot of attorneys. So we've got a lot of high-powered people, a lot of talent, people who support
And you found that that's what they want. They want the very best, like, retention.
Service.
They want
Yes.
the best service. They want,
They do not want people to know that they have extensions.
which is why.
So
They
what
lo-
lashes did you put on?
Yeah.
I put on almost always a 0.15 of 15 classic lash. Almost every one of my clients are between the ages of, I would say, 34 and even 80.
Yeah.
And they come every 3 to 4 weeks.
And they're most
They
important.
drive Bentleys.
Yeah.
They drive Rolls Royces.
Yeah.
They
And by the way, their most important thing for them
Do
is
most
status.
people not drive those cars?
Yeah, It's just LA.
It's crazy
everywhere.
driving in California seeing
No.
the money.
Yeah.
It's
man.
crazy.
the handbags they come in.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they are
She always
like
tells me that's a $10,000 bag. I'm like,
$15,000 bag. That's a
my
Birkin
gosh.
exotic. You know.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
the jewelry. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
they
they look casual, but everything is status for them. And another
so
thing
they're
too
the
is
wives
time-
of celebrities,
Yeah.
and they can't like. I'll have them come in and they'll say, "My girlfriend was looking at my eyelashes. She's like, can we go a little bit shorter?" A little bit, because she, you know, I had one executive came in and she is in her 60s, and she was mortified because the waitress at this restaurant that she was entertaining a client came up and says, "Oh my gosh, you've got lash extensions," and she was so mortified. She talked to the manager about it. She's just like, I can't believe she would say that in front of a client, you know, because to them,
It's like kind of say, "Wow, see, you have implants or something like that."
Yeah.
it's like they lose status when it's so it has to look perceived. If there's one that's growing out and it's wonky, it's a giveaway, right?
Yeah.
So so that's how
That's how your business works.
Yeah.
No,
but that's not everyone. We know that. This is a very
but-
kind of
No, but it's cool that you found your niche.
yeah.
But I think it's important that you understood it.
Yeah.
And that's how you got to that conclusion
Right.
of like, this is what works for
And
me.
it kind of just fell into our lap. We didn't strategically go, I know, let's go high end. It just, as time evolved, we began to find where we really were passionate about. What she loved was the artistry, going slower. And I think we attracted those clients more. And then once we got it, we kind of knew what we were doing more. And we kind of began to, we did find out, by the way, they don't use social media. So social media was worthless to attract our ideal client. It's all
Really?
about personal referral, 100%. And even then there's an obstacle because a lot of people don't like referring because you're
don't.
busy.
You guys kind of have a unique clientele, I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
it was a very,
they're
very
very unique.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to the Met Gala. They're going. I mean, they're doing.
They're gone for 3 months every
Half
year.
this
during the
stuff I
summer.
don't even know what it is. I'm not cultured.
Neither do we.
Oscars.
We just read it so that we can talk about it and like ask them the questions. but we have
we're just
no
lowly
idea.
from Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is like the way that you described it in the beginning. Having the goal to speed up is a very, very good goal because you're going to attract a wide variety of clients that will come. If you can master that skill, once you've mastered that, then you can diversify and go
And
into
find-
niche
yeah. Right.
things. But you
Yeah.
first have to do that.
It's like an entry gateway into something
and
different.
it's going to be big for everyone. If you think about the nail world, so acrylic nails came out in the late 70s, and it took 3 hours to do a full set of
Did it
nails.
really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
They were
didn't
sculpted.
either.
So they would put a form on the nail, and they would build that plastic or the acrylic up.
Right, and then they would cast it.
file it. They would file it by hand without a Dremel or a rotary thing. So it would literally take 3 hours to
Wow.
do. One of my clients used to go to the Flying File, and she used to do Cher's nails and Barbara Streisand's nails, and she's like, yeah, what
Who are those people?
right? But
We just lost all our millennials. Like,
right,
what?
that, right?
Share.
But in the 80s, big things, big revolutions happened. We had the advent of the Dremel, and we had an influx of the Vietnamese population, and they took that service and they sped it up and they lowered the cost down, and they had new innovations with things that made it faster, and it made nails available to everyone. There's one on every corner. And so now, I mean,
I gotta say though, that's probably one of my biggest fears in our industry.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Well, you've got. Let's look at hair extensions. Let's look at eyelash extensions. Let's look at nails. Mm-hmm. As an industry, I think that we can all agree that there are certain aspects of nails that we do not want to follow.
No,
Right.
yeah.
We don't want it to become a commodity. We don't want it to become something that's all about price and speed, right?
Yep.
And we
want it to stay on the high end.
Yeah.
Right.
I have my own
We want it to be a
ways.
luxury
Luxury.
service.
I
Yeah.
have my own ways of things that I think are important about that. But I think that there's parts of that are good, but I think hair extensions where it's kind of more of like a luxury service, and it takes time, but it also is like, it's a lot faster than what it used to be, but like it's more of like a higher end service. That is kind of, I just would dread to see it go the way of the nails.
I completely agree with you, but I don't want us to fear that. I think it's inevitable because in every layer of society, there's always a lower level, right? But it's like
It's like the car industry being afraid of cheap cars. There's going to be cheap cars,
There
but
were Yugos.
I don't think Bentleys are worried right now that there's a cheap car market
So
out
what
there.
happens is, so there's cheap lashes on every corner. What it's going to do is it's going to create a market for those who have the niche, for those who have the desire to deliver more, for them, the world is their oyster, the world is their pie, right?
Yep.
Because if everyone has a taste of it, but they know that they want something more, like they get the lashes, but it just looks too caterpillar-like or something like that. If they know that there's something more subtle, you're going to go
can
to
do
that.
that. Yeah, I
so
like that.
I don't think that we should be afraid of that. I think it's going to happen.
I like that.
And we need to say, ladies, hone your skills for something of a higher standard, because you can achieve that. And when you can achieve that, you can offer that to your clients and you can change the world.
I like that.
And there's a mindset there too. You have to stop thinking about money. Because this thing, I loved it when they said, what do clients care about most? Average cost was at the lowest of all the things. And I thought that was awesome because
Isn't
it's
that telling,
always,
right?
Yeah.
always been the thing that I've said. It's that people care about value over cost. And if you give them the value they want, they'll pay anything. I mean, Tussanee clients pay $183 to $244 for a fill.
Yeah.
I mean, that's well over all the averages by far. And it's because she just got lucky. It's like, because she just said, you know what? She builds it over time. And this is why I need to do the work I need to do. And you attract those people. And they're always, by the way, people in Beverly Hills or any high end, they're not looking for the cheap lashes. They're looking for the best. In fact, it's kind of a status thing to say, look, I go to the most expensive hairdresser. My hairdresser is $600 versus going to, some Mike's, chop shop where you get for $30. Like, that's not bragging rights, and status is important. So there's going to be all these different classes, and you can decide which one you want to be. I still think there's a place out there for someone to be able to do cheap, fast lashes and can make a killing doing it if they can just find a way to do it fast.
It's like the business will support like a hot dog guy on the street. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying you can get a meal at the hot dog.
I was the hot dog
on the street. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say
Well,
that.
I mean, there's like in the hotel, look at hotels. I always think there's Motel 6 and then there's the Four Seasons, and there's room for both to make money and be successful.
You said something interesting though, that you said it's not something that we should fear. And there was, speaking of serious business, which I really did enjoy, there was a speaker that talked about how, like, anytime you feel like there's something happening to you, you need to not look at that. You need to flip the way you're looking at that and look at how it's happening for you. Because when things like that happen, there's always an opportunity. There's a huge opportunity. And I think you're
always a
I think you're
silver
right.
lining. So what? I mean, people will contact us all the time because of the podcast and say, can you guys rally our industry to say that we need to band together and say no more cheap lashes? And we try to educate them like, that's okay if they do, because you're going to make your stand on something that the cheap lashes can't.
Yeah.
In fact,
And you're going to make a killing off
it's
of it.
good there's a cheap lash place, because you say, at least I'm not doing that. I mean, you can distinguish yourself. Say, look, guys, I don't do the cheap lashes. I do, let's say, mid-level lashes, whatever that is.
And this is what you're going to get. You're going to get longevity. You're going to get
style and
Your lashes will be healthier.
Yeah, they'll be healthier and it won't be
Exactly.
glued together. I promise that.
They're going to be
Going back to
comfortable.
this is reminding me of like tabs. Like, remember when they used to glue
The
those
clusters.
big chunks?
Oh yeah.
yeah. And those are still happening.
Yes, they
Oh,
are
I know.
nail salons.
I know.
Yeah,
We see
or
it
even
all
You
the
see
time.
them in ads.
That's a
and-
lot of what you're seeing in nail salons, I think.
Oh, yeah,
that's
that's
totally,
exactly.
that's all they do.
I was about to
we
say
do
the name,
lashes.
but
No, you don't.
Yeah.
that's not the
Ouch.
same thing.
That would
we
hurt
do.
so bad. I can't
Oh,
imagine.
My goodness, it's like cluster lashes from
Yeah.
the drugstore.
Yep.
Yep.
So clients prefer, let's talk about that. 40% of the clients are preferring classic, 38 are preferring classic and volume hybrid, and 12% are preferring volume, 3% mega.
Yeah.
Nope, 2%,
mega.
2% mega. Let's talk about that for a second, because if you look on social media, what do you think is the hottest trend?
That's mega and volume.
It's mega.
Yeah, all
But yet,
those, yeah.
Why is it that the clients are saying that only 2% of them want mega volume?
I know. Well, first off, because it looks fake, and it's exactly the reason why our clients would hate it, because it screams like your lashes enter the corner before you do when you walk in the room.
Yeah.
They see your lashes, and
Because people can tell, and then it's a signal that you're vain or something like that, or you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's also, it does look kind of, to me, Hunger Games like. It's just like, oh my gosh, that's over the top. It's good for a photo shoot, maybe. It's good for a editorial.
And it does have its place.
Yes.
Like,
It does.
let me make that very clear. It does have its place,
Yes.
and it can be very beautiful.
It can.
It can be.
If you're at a nightclub, it's dark, you're on stage. I mean, you need something.
I've
the
always wanted to
impact.
make glow-in-the-dark lashes, by the way.
Oh, yes. That'd be cool.
Zach
That's
is
wouldn't that be
always wanting to
cool?
do that for nightclubs.
yeah, that's going to be doable, right?
I bet
It's just a
some of
plastic
yours
fiber, just-
actually probably do if you have the black light.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
You,
that
do you
I've
see
seen,
the,
but
you see all the
I don't
dust
really
mites
blacklight
on
my
it?
The
lashes
yellow
very
night?
often. Well, I actually don't wear
I
lashes.
bet
ones,
that
yeah.
if you took a black light to what you've
Some of
got
those
on
color
your
lashes.
shelves right
Yeah.
now, they
Test
will
it out.
glow.
Some would glow.
And we got the
maybe we
nightclub
could spray
here,
paint,
so we
yeah.
might as well bring in
Yeah.
the lights and do
let's
it.
get back to this real quick, because I think that it also, that question that you're asking, like, why is that only less people want the volume? It also has to correlate. It correlates between 61%. That's more than half of the lash artists are between 18 and 34, right?
Okay.
The younger they are.
So you think that they think that that's what's best, so that's what they want to do for their
Yeah.
clients? Is that what you're
I
getting at?
think also that's what looks good on a younger set. That's kind of, I mean, that's just, it just tends to go, younger skews a little bit more trendy. When
Yeah.
we're younger, we don't have as much of a medial fold on our eyes, which some people call a hooded eye. And
It's not like a hoodie, like walking around like a gangster.
yeah,
No, sorry.
so
That's
it looks
lame.
really good. It looks really good with that. So I don't know. I think that's contributing to it.
I have two reasons. One, I think the biggest one, well, actually, I'll say the lesser one, and then I'll do the bigger. The first one is because of photography. It just looks good on photographs.
It does.
When you do editorial, like with hair and any of that, you always want to do bigger, brighter, all these colors. You do classics, like, wow, that barely is noticeable.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just like, okay,
It
it
looks
looks good in real
natural.
life, but it doesn't photograph well. And I think
Yeah.
everyone wants to have impact. Everyone wants their social media to be really big. I mean, you look at the makeup world and all the guys doing makeup on each other. It's like over the top makeup. No one walks around with makeup like that, but it looks good on YouTube, tutorials and all that. So that's one. The second, I think, is the real reason. Our industry, because we've been around here all this time, since 2005 when Tuss first started. Classic had been around, 8-9 years when volume starts showing up. And volume, everyone's just barely getting by. Everyone's getting cheaper, and everyone's getting faster, but the prices are going down. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I can give myself a raise? I can just do volume and charge because it's a new skill. I'll just tell them I need double.
It's definitely how people looked at it.
Yeah, initially it was like, oh my gosh, so I'm charging only $25 for a fill, but with volume, I'll tell them it's $75. And I gave myself a huge raise. And I really think it just came down initially. I just need to make more money. We saw what they're making, $20,000 a year. So that was a nice, quick way to bump up all their money without charging, without technically, charging more for their service, because they changed the service so they could justify it. But the truth is, when we talk with people and taught our classes, you need to be profitable whether you're doing classic or volume. And so if you're doing classic for $25, then you're not charging enough. If you're like, well, I lose money on classic. In fact, I've seen that. People, I don't do classic anymore because I don't make any money on it. I'm like, well, then you're not charging correctly, because your time is worth something. And if you're giving a client what they want, and they want, by the way, a more natural look, you don't have to force them into volume, then you charge more for your classic. And guess what? You'll make money and be profitable whether you do classic or volume, because truth is, volume really doesn't cost a whole lot more to do.
No.
They make it sound like it does. Like, oh my gosh. If it takes you 3 hours to do a new set for volume and 2 hours for classic, yes, it should cost more because it took more time.
Yeah.
But
It's kind of like what you're going back to before when you were talking with the potential buyer that said if he went with you, they were out of their margins weren't good enough, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the reason why for me why volume I think blew up and why people were like, I'm doing volume now because they just wanted to be able to charge more.
I think it has a lot to do
a big
with
thing is clients too, though. Like I think if you've been getting your lashes done with Classic for so long, you kind of get used to them, and you're like, oh, I want a little more, and then you see a change, and then I think that's where Mega came, is people just want more and more and more, and I think there is that client that wants more and more. So I think that's a big reason too, because even with myself, like I remember when I first got Classic lashes and just being like, these are beautiful. This is enough, right?
Yeah.
Like just being like, whoa, this is a huge change. And then after wearing them for 5 years,
it wasn't enough anymore.
Volume comes out. I'm like, whoa, there's more. And then you see the change again and you're like, wow, I love that. And then, but it is more of a trend, I feel like.
We call it lash blindness. After a while, you
don't see your own lashes, and all you see is the extensions.
Someone takes their lashes off, literally would say, look, you're going to feel like your lashes are gone and that we somehow ripped them all out and damaged them.
Yes.
We always took pictures of people before the lashes, and so if we ever had to remove them, we say, no, you still have your same lashes.
Oh, that's a huge one.
Yeah, because they just freak out. Like, you destroyed my lash.
My lashes didn't look like this before.
Yeah,
they did. know.
Yep, they did. You just have lash blindness. It's okay. Everyone gets it.
Lash blindness. That's a good
I love that.
I need to remember that.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Let's talk about the industry growth.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was really interesting,
actually.
So,
it's an interesting one. I wish that we had a little bit more data on.
Yeah.
When you look at the chart, it looks like the industry is like decreasing. It's not. You got to read the graph correctly, and what is decreasing is the growth rate, which is normal for industries as they grow.
Mature.
Right? It's like your business. Like the first year, the second year of business, you might be able to quadruple what you did the first year, and then 10 years later, like try and quadruple again.
And I'm sure your company's hitting that mature phase yourself, right? You're not growing at 500% a year, and you couldn't keep that up indefinitely if you wanted to. That's like insane kind of pace.
Or like weight loss, right?
So what we're seeing, is we've gone from like 68% growth in 2017, 40% in 2018, and down to 17% in 2019. Now, we say down, we say that like it's not great. But that is still by like any industry standards, that's still pretty.
That seems, and that'd be interesting to know with the hair world, how fast nails and lashes and hair are comparable.
I think for me though, it did kind of strike me as alarming, and I still do have concern. Basically, trying to figure out why is it slowing down, because we haven't reached market saturation.
Right.
We haven't fully penetrated the market, and this has the potential to. Every woman wants longer, thicker lashes, right?
Yep.
So what do we need to do to get to that point of like really like getting into the market and
so everyone has them.
Yeah, it's just normal that you're a baby and we just put them on while you're in the crib and get you started.
And I think for me, the answer is that us as manufacturers, we have a lot of work to do. We have to improve the product line. And lash artists, they have to work on their businesses. We have to be giving the consumers what they want.
Yes, not pushing what we want on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And with that is going to come expenses. Like for us to develop some of this stuff, like it's very time consuming. It's very expensive. Some of the stuff we're working on, we've spent millions over the last couple of years trying to work on some bigger plays in the industry that I think will change it. But like, I'd like to see, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like we're at this point of this influx where it's like we have had a decreasing growth rate in our industry. I'd like to see that become increasing again. And I know that we can do that. We just have to work together as an industry.
Yeah, I think the coronavirus might make 2020 a tough year for that to happen. We'll wait and see. We may just call this a wash year at this point, but hopefully you're right. And I think some of that has to do with timing, like you were saying, we were talking about earlier. I think if we can get the times down quicker, and I think the pre-made fans are really going to help bring that into reality. And I think what Moore's doing is very interesting. We had them on. I don't know if we'll have this on our show after or beforehand, but they're approaching, trying to open, I think, new markets really for our industry and get new people in the lashes who
that
beforehand
currently wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, we're just like, this is too much time. I mean, we have clients call all the time. They see us call and they'll say, how long is your first appointment? I'm like, with Tussanee, it's 3 hours. And they go, oh, no, that's okay. I'm like, that's okay. You're not our client. So I don't say that to them, but in my mind, I'm like, you're not our ideal client. We're not for everyone, and everyone has their own point. But there once in a while, I'll get someone called and they're almost relieved that we take 3 hours because like, oh man, I've been going to a place that's only an hour. So it's finding whoever you're looking for. But I think there are more people in the short lash world or the short time frame. And I think the more we have to explore that. And I think the pre-mades are really going to help us get there much quicker than.
And as more people adopt them, we will be able to bring the price down. We will.
Yeah.
Like I'd like the price to come down for sure.
Yeah, because right now they're pretty expensive to get a pre-made fan versus it's like getting pre-cut fruit versus buying your fruit and cutting yourself.
Yeah.
So volume, the pre-made fan, speed is an area to work on. I think another one is longevity, which doesn't get talked about.
It's going to come down to us.
Right.
And truthfully, like it's going to come down to people actually like making these adhesives themselves and figuring out that there's better, more technical ways of understanding the chemistry and making this better.
Oh yeah, there's the chemistry aspect and then the physical bonding aspect.
So the artist has a lot,
Yeah, getting the best mechanical fit, right?
Yeah.
Also understanding that there's more than one dimension of design. Right now, mostly what's taught in our industry is one dimension, which means it's either short to long generally. You can go short, long, but it's usually in one dimension. Our eyes are not one-dimensional. Our eyes are two-dimensional. We have not just one layer of lashes. We have
many.
Several.
Yeah.
The way that you handle those lashes can change the look of the... So there's dimension that we haven't explored, right?
Yeah.
And then there's anatomical difference. I'm not talking about like a map that, calls out each line as they're the same. But if the way that somebody's lashes grow, if they're in a downward pitch, it's different than how you would lash somebody whose lashes are upturned or out, or somebody who has an epicanthal fold, which is that double lid. Yeah. It's different, or a medial fold, which is that hooded eye, puffy eye kind of. There's these things that we haven't explored yet. And so if we're able to tease all these different things apart, we're able to offer a specific degree of specificity, right? For each of those things. So there's all those things that we can do.
Yeah,
I think what I'm gathering from that is, and I agree with you, but it's like we have room to grow. We have room to learn and to grow. And people need to have an open mind with that.
Yeah.
But
like I feel like a lot of artists, they have like their secret sauce where they do this is like what they always do, right?
Yeah.
And they have the same lashes on every single person.
Every single person.
And I think that's a big thing that our industry needs to change. Is it needs to be like, no, like you need different curls, you need different diameters, you need different lengths for every single person.
Yeah, Tess will have 4 or 5.
So you can cater it, different
lashes.
But these are things that if we can talk about more and if we can kind of share that with each other, people I think are willing to learn and they want to learn. I think we have a great industry in that like a lot of them are young, as we've seen. Yeah. They do want to learn. They are eager to learn, and they will learn if the resources are there for them. Like we have to provide them that, and we have to kind of be more open to talking about this, and we are, and we're doing that, and that's what's so great, and that's what I think that I do expect to see the next few years, like an influx in picking this up, and I'm excited about the opportunities of what we see with the industry.
We've been in the industry long enough to say I feel like we're in our third wave, is what I call it. The first wave was all classic and all that. Then the second wave was volume. And the third wave now is this kind of diversification we're seeing in our industry where lots of people are beginning to explore other things in the lash industry. For instance, lash box artists doing a box that comes out to you, or someone's like Melena's teaching people how to be healthier physically. You have Tara Walsh with her business coaching she's doing for Lashpreneur. You have these new things, t-shirts, with Top Shelf and Dear Lash Love. And so you have all all these different companies are beginning to sprout up that are servicing our industry. And I think we're also seeing more and more people talk about coaching and training, business training. I'd like to see more experienced people teaching, because sometimes I see someone teaching, I'm like, how long have you been doing business? I just learned lashes last week, and now I'm going to be a business coach too. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So here's just a little
slow
note.
down.
If you take a training or you want to invest in it, just make sure that the institution that's teaching has actually accomplished what they're setting out to teach you.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Talk
just
is cheap.
Yeah, talk is cheap,
Yeah.
and it's easy to say. Teach. I mean, I did this and that, but if you only been doing it for 6 months, you don't probably yet experience the full spectrum of problems that you're going to face as a business owner or building a business. So I think what's exciting to see is these people are popping up. More of these people are coming in to the market. They're going to start, I hope, shepherding, challenging, helping people learn to be better business people. That's why we have LashCon or Lash Conference now, where we are trying to coach people, teach them. And I think we are going to see a lot more, because I was looking at, again, 60% of our industry has been doing lashes for less than 2 years. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of newbies in our industry, and it's our job as more senior people to hopefully reach back and pull them up and help them out and teach and train.
Because pulling each other up will lift everybody.
Yeah.
It will lift the entire industry.
And there'll be more money to be made. There'll be higher profit margins, because right now we're, for the most part, I think, running around there like chickens with our heads off, because we just don't know what we're doing. But slowly, hopefully, like herding cats, right? We're going to slowly get them all together, and we will we will do better, and we will grow as an industry. And I think you're right. I can see this growth happen, because once people become better business owners, once we become better marketers, once we become better technicians, then the clients will love it more,
and
we'll serve them better.
I'm hoping more than anything that people will really like fuel their drive for entrepreneurism. Entrepreneurism is one of the greatest things that can happen in your life, and I love it. Like I eat, sleep, and breathe entrepreneurism. Like, and I love it, and I think that there's a lot of people in our industry are here because they're entrepreneurs, because they like having their own business, and I think that being able to challenge them and to be able to challenge that entrepreneurism, I think, is going to lead to some extraordinary things happening.
Yeah.
What is that saying? Work 100 hours like a dog so you don't have to work 40? Wait,
Did
I say that
I'd
right?
work 1,000 hours a week than 40 hours for someone else. Whatever it is. But at the same time, I will always say this, because I'm a big, because I love salons, and I know that owners, they get nervous when we talk about entrepreneurship, because they start thinking, well, that means everyone's going to walk out on me. And at the same time, I don't think everyone should be an entrepreneur.
You don't want to repeat the walkout.
It's not for everyone. Some people just want to go.
And a lot of people watch Shark Tank.
And then go home.
I'm jealous of people that can do that.
Yeah.
Like that can just go home and just shut it all off.
Check it off.
And I've always been envious of that.
It's a different way of
we
life.
go home, and I was last night working until 2 in the morning. I had to be up at 4:30, and I'm like getting all the stuff done for the conference. I had to get out before we left for this weekend, and I'm like, that doesn't matter. You got to stay up, and you just don't have that luxury when you're the owner and you're running your own business. But that's okay, because we signed up for it. I'm not complaining. We like it, but at the same time, there's some people that I like to celebrate the employees. I like to celebrate the people who are the team members who help it, because sometimes, like in Tessa's case, before she was doing it, I came on to really help her be the business side, because
I didn't know what I was doing. I had all these cockamamie ideas, and it was just like, I wouldn't even like batch the tips. I wouldn't even batch it at night. The
credit card machine wouldn't go through and all that. So it was one of those things where it's good to have a team, people who know your weaknesses, who help complete you, because you doing everything is usually not the smartest way of going about building a business. In fact, I'm sure you can have Bella right now. It's just you two. That's why we have this amazing group of people.
We have great people. Yep.
Yeah, and that's awesome too. So I love staff. I love team members. I don't always like to call employees, because sometimes people make employees sound like a bad term. Either, no. It's like we're a team. Staff. We're in this together.
Whenever our girls are here, or if anybody comes to our house or whatever, they're like, "Who's this?" It's like, "Oh, this is my friend so and so." Right? Yeah. It's like we're all friends here.
We're
together.
And that's the goal.
We work together.
But entrepreneurship, yes. And it's all the thing. I mean, between watching The Profit, watching Shark Tank, and all these other shows, there's never been more excitement, I think, for entrepreneurship. And I think that's great. And I think people just need to be a little more self-aware to know, like, am I really motivated? Am I really? Because if you're only making $20,000 a year, I'm betting that you're not maybe super motivated, like you've kind of maybe settled in, and there might be good reasons for it.
I see an opportunity there, though. Like and hopefully they can too. Like after watching this, like if you're only making $20,000 a year, the sky's the limit. Oh yeah, you could be making millions.
You could be making a lot of money.
That's right. Yeah,
it's there. I mean, Tessa's a good example. She's doing very well doing lashes, and it's, but you have to put in the time and you have to be patient. It's not going to happen in 6 months. It's not going to happen like the old days when a lot of companies, hopefully you guys didn't do this, but a lot of companies would put, if you do 6 new sets a day, you'll be making 6 digits a year, and they were selling their training that way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. And so that's not true, guys. It's going to take a long time to get there, but you can. There are people making 6 digits. Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to say one thing, just shout out to all the moms out there with little ones. There's a season for everything.
Yes.
And you might be listening to this and your heart may be burning. No, you might be thinking, that's me. I really want to do that, but I've got these kids. I want to encourage you, there is a season for everything. Your children, I mean, we talk to people at all the events that lots of times moms will come up to me and just say, I really want to do this. I just have got these little ones at home. And
mom guilt kicks in.
And I want to say,
feeling bad.
Don't feel bad. I mean, you are the only one those little ones call mom. I mean, and that is the highest calling. There's a season. They're going to go to school. Things are going to change. Don't feel bad. You will have time to kill it all. Focus on, what you're being called in this season.
I mean, that's your legacy is your children. So
Hayes, you know a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure.
We just had our third baby,
Yeah.
so we got a newborn, and
I haven't been
exited.
back much
Yeah.
since we had him 7 weeks
Haley,
ago.
how is that tug? I mean, are you feeling like...
I feel it. The mom guilt's real. But I think, I do feel like my greatest calling is my kids and being home with them. So
That's awesome.
definitely make that more of a priority.
We've kind of decided
than work, and Zach's made work more of a priority.
Yeah.
Like no matter what happens here, we can burn this place down. And as long as our kids and our family's okay, we're okay. And so she right now, the most important thing is she could be doing right now for us in our lives is what she's doing.
Just caring for those.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. We were thought about what if we were starting now. I don't know. We would approach it the same way. We would have to change everything because.
What do you mean if we?
If we were just like we were 25 having kids right now, starting out, it would be really, really difficult because we feel the same way. We would want her, and actually, for a lot of the earlier years, I was the one home with the kids a lot, and because she was starting her business, but. It's tough. It's really tough. You don't want to sacrifice that.
Yeah. So do lashes on the side when you can if you're a mom, and
you do you.
You do you,
and you do you,
and that's okay.
You can wait 10 years. There's
Whatever
no race
works
here.
for you works for you.
Exactly.
We just want you all to be happy.
Exactly.
And do your max potential. That's what we're here to do. We're just trying to help.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You said it perfectly. We're just here to help.
Well, guys, I think with that being said, I think that I'd like to just thank you guys one more time for being here. We really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun talking to you guys.
Oh, it's been great.
Been great.
We loved. We actually knew. I mean, I'll just share this one thing we loved first about Bella when we bought. I think it was what was the eye patches we were buying, and we were buying, and also we sold your mascara, and so we were selling that, and this was 5, 6, 7 years ago when I think you guys were still kind of new.
Yeah.
And I remember during the holidays, you guys sent us a present.
Really nice.
A nice candy
It was a
or
huge
chocolate. I don't know what it was. Was this
stacking boxes of goodies, and we're just like, oh my gosh,
who does that?
Who does this?
We were so impressed. And so we were, right from then we were like, okay, we're just Bella Lash fans. And then we'd just go to the trade shows and we'd always walk around and just
if you looked on your boxes too, there's little messages, just a sense of humor and just even the finish of the boxes. I don't know, you always put attention to details that I
We
think
appreciate that. That means a lot.
It was.
you.
And that's so for us to be able to finally meet you guys personally, it's been wonderful. And it's something we've always wanted. And now we have faces. Well, actually, I knew your face already.
Yeah.
I'd seen you around, but never talked to him.
Zach.
Never saw Zach, hidden from the world.
Once I'd get the trade shows up, I would leave. I was like, my nerves were shot.
I wondered if the guy was your voice. I forgot his name. I thought maybe he was one of the owners.
Joseph Renee.
No, and I found out no, he wasn't.
Wait, what's the quote that you would say to your team members?
How long are you going to be broke down for?
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ask any of the guys that I work with, in engineering or fabrication stuff, they know that. You know that one too, don't you, Greg?
Yeah.
I think they simultaneously want to laugh and punch me in the face.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks so much. This is great to be here. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. Take it easy.
Thank you.